T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man,
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes,
Tell 'em.
exclusive. Oh,
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When
Check,
I
check.
come up-
you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Here we are, live and direct at the very first Las Vegas Reptile Super Show with the one and only Robyn Markland.
Hey, now.
Redline shipping and Redline science in the flesh. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you.
Glad to have you right in front of me.
Yeah.
First off, thank you for sponsoring the channel. I mean, to have your
course.
support is very dreamy, but honestly, what you have going on, game changing. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening with Redline shipping. But
Sure.
before we get into things, I want to say this episode was brought to you by my good homie Dominic over at 702 Serpents. Please go to Instagram, give my boy Dominic a follow. I appreciate your support. I want to also say shout out to any Patreon members out there. If you're looking to tap in more than what you see here on the podcast on a weekly basis, there's exclusive content unreleased to anybody besides the Patreon members. So please go down to the link below, join the Patreon family. And again, Dom, thank you so much for your support. But dude, fuck, Reptile Super Show in Las Vegas.
How about that?
Okay, you said something to me which stood out. And you weren't the only one to say this, but there has not been a successful Vegas reptile show from what you know of. Like, meaning something continuously groundbreaking.
Going back 25 years, there's not been a great Vegas show. There's been a couple regional attempts, but like a national show. For what you think, when you think of Vegas, you think big time, you think national,
Right.
you think of the mega shows that are here, the SEMA show, the clothing show, the car shows. The biggest events of the year for other industries are here in Vegas. So it makes sense. Like, obviously there'd be a fucking killer reptile show here.
Right.
It's not the case.
Right.
It's never been the case. It seems to be a really tough draw for the reptile world. So, I mean, Rami's a great promoter for Super Show. I support the shit out of him. I've worked with him for years. And, his Pomona show is absolutely monstrous, gigantic.
Right.
It's a huge crowd. So if anybody can do Vegas, he can do it.
I was gonna
But
say if it's
an
one
uphill battle.
if it's one person who can do it, it's gonna be Rami.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And I also want to say shout out to Rami for honestly putting out these shows because, I mean, look what's happening. I mean, I don't know, Robyn, I think I've heard of your name first off at a show, and then I met you at Tinley finally, which was awesome. But
Yeah.
these shows just bring so much together, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but without coming to these shows, it's really hard to connect dots.
It's hard to feel a part of the circle if you're
Right.
not attending shows.
You know, it's crazy you say that because think about people who have like 1 million followers on Instagram or like influencers, right? They're out of place at places like here. Like I mean, for the most part, maybe some will know who they are, but like when it comes to like breeders, you know, recognizing like creators, it's more breeders fucking with breeders, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be well known by just not showing your face around these kind of shows.
I think if you want to be a player in the industry, you have to participate in the big shows.
Right.
That's going to be the NARBC shows, but it's also going to be Rami's super shows. I mean, I think those are the two leading promoters and the two leading shows. Like I said, I think that like Pomona show, I think is Rami's, prestige event. It's just a massive, massive show.
It's like it's Tinley.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a different vibe than
Way
Tinley.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. Tinley's a very industry-driven show.
Right.
Rami's shows are big. I don't know anything bigger than Pomona physically.
Right.
And maybe even crowd-wise. But it's a more of a, there's a lot of families come to Rami shows.
Right.
A lot of folks just enjoying the show as opposed to Tinley's a lot more about business, I think.
It's
But
like an
there's-
inner circle. That's an inner circle show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Tinley's grown so friggin' big.
It really has.
It's a monster. Spring and fall Tinley is just gigantic. But so I like the vibe of both of the shows. They're not the same. If you want to be a player in the industry, you want to grow yourself in the industry, whatever your segment is, whether it's podcast, whether it's merchandise, whether it's feeders, animals, whatever. I think if you want to be a player, you got to be at both shows. Whether you're vending or not is different, but you at least have to attend.
Right.
You can't be a player in the industry and not attend some Tinleys. And same on Pomona. You have to go to Pomona because you've got to get exposure to that circle of folks, the vendors and the people that are moving the industry and the hobby forward. That's where you're going to encounter them.
I think I have some kind of I have something in my thought process that I feel like a lot of other people have right now, and that's them wanting to know what kind of player are you for you to start Redline Science, for you to start Redline Shipping. Like, who the fuck are you to do this? And I feel like a lot of people haven't connected those dots on what your experience is in this industry for you to get where you're at right now.
Yeah, I've been trying to deal with that existentialism a little bit the last couple of years, right?
Right.
Because I split with my biggest company, Ship Your Reptiles, in 2019. It was a partnership for a long time, 25 plus years. I was partners with my partner there, and so to split there, it's an opportunity, right, for new growth, new ventures, new avenues. But it was also a point to kind of look inward and say, who am I, and what am I doing, and where am I at? And so over the past couple of years, I had a pretty good, strong realization, like, it's not just I'm not connected to the younger generation. There are probably two younger generations that I don't have extensive connections to. So there's brand new folks in the industry from a couple of generations that aren't familiar with me, and I'm not familiar with them. And so I'm very driven to that.
Right.
Because I started in the industry in '93 as a livestock breeder.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of livestock?
Ball pythons,
Okay.
reptiles.
Right.
Well, actually, '93, in the '90s, it was a different time. So in the 2010s and now the 20s, a lot of people are specialists.
Right.
They specialize in ball pythons, or they specialize in frogs, or they specialize in crested geckos. In the 90s, we were not that smart. We were all dummies, and we were trying to do everything. So you didn't specialize. Tracy Barker always put it well. She said, you can do one or two species really, really well, or you can do 15 different species mediocrely. And so that's what the 90s were for me and for a lot of people. You were just doing whatever. I mean, we did lizards, we did geckos, monitor lizards, we did colubrids of all different types, rat snakes, king snakes, corn snakes, milk snakes. We did all kinds of different boas. We did all kinds of different pythons. And honestly, you just didn't do them that well. Because if you're not focused on on the animals you're working with, it's hard to be really successful.
Right.
So you kind of just slump your way through it and figure it out. So I started with Pro Exotics, is what we started in '93, and that ran until 2011. So it had a really nice long run. And we did. I think we ended up breeding 120, 130 different species.
What stopped Pro Exotics? So what was I don't want to say downfall, but what made Pro Exotics stop?
Oh, well, thanks for bringing that up, MJ. It was a fire that wiped us out.
Sorry. Okay, but I heard about a fire, but I didn't know that was it. Like that was the end.
That was the 95% end. Yeah.
So meaning it was
super,
almost impossible to recover from that.
It was impossible. So it was obviously super traumatic, and for years. I mean, it was 2011. At this point, I have a good perspective on it, and I'm fine with it.
Is there any like
what it is? What it is.
I mean, there's no obviously taking back what happened, but is there anything that happened that you could let people know, like this is what went down, and be careful yourselves, like, or what caused the fire? I'm just curious because Ari Flagel, one of my good friends, just had something terrible, and like, goddamn, what a good fucking guy. I mean, not that it happens to certain people, but dude, wow, like heartbreaking, man. Like,
so I reached out to Ari,
right,
and and I've known Ari for years and years, and,
right.
and I believe we were friends when we had our fire,
right.
I mean, go back quite a ways, but I told him, I said, hey, obviously this is super traumatic. It was just a couple of days later, and I told him, like, look, I don't know what your experience is going to be, but here was my experience. The weeks after the fire were very surreal. I felt like I was living in a movie. Yeah. Like there was no reality.
Like you're gonna get it all back or something.
Yeah. Like somebody's gonna
here's
rewind, and you go back, and And so it was because I think your brain mentally shuts down.
Yeah, like what, it doesn't know what to do.
Deal with trauma, right? Yeah. So to deal with that trauma. And so I said, this could be your experience. Like number one, Ari and Ryu, they lost their personal collection, right? Right. But they still have their zoo that they're working really hard on. And so I said, hey man, I know it's hard. The loss is hard. That I understand that deep in my heart, and I'm heartbroken for you. But don't lose focus.
Right.
Hold the fuck on.
Right. Because
you have this whole other thing, the zoo, that you're doing really important work. And I know that it's discouraging right now, but it's going to feel different in 6 months. So don't make any drastic decisions. Let it ride for a minute and go through your emotions, go through the cycle, experience it how you're going to experience it, but don't shut down and run, right? Because I know Ari, and they're doing important stuff, and they're building an important zoo that's going to educate and share the love of reptiles to thousands and thousands of people. And I want to see that complete. I would hate to see them walk away from that out of heartbreak, but at the same time, I walked away from livestock breeding out of heartbreak.
Right.
I didn't have it in my heart to do it anymore, to reproduce animals and be in that race, trying to keep up with everybody else. I said, hey, we're going to pivot. Which way we're going to pivot? And we just started shipping reptiles, so that was just starting to gain ground. So I was like, we're good there. It was like, hey, I got this other idea for a reptile report. It would be a cool concept. So I started working on that, because you have to stay occupied, right? Because I mean, it was very, very difficult. See, now earlier I goofed with you because you didn't know about the fire, and now I'm talking about it, and I'm getting more emotional because it does stir up these old memories. But what I told Ari, because again, I love Ari, I've known him a long time, but there is a group of us in the industry that have had fires. JT had a fire.
Right. I'll never forget that. JT
Anthony
and Austin.
Lecomte had a fire.
Wow.
And so I don't know. So I deal with trauma and things like that with humor sometimes, right? So after I'd shared with Ari my experience and my suggestions on how he might look to deal with it in the next few days, few weeks, I thought he was taking it well. I was getting good feedback, and we were having a moment. And I said, hey, Ari, fuck you both for joining this shit-ass club. This is not the club you want to be in, and I'm sorry that you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Because it is, right?
Yeah.
You have this fire issue where you get wiped out. Now we're going to have this in common for the rest of our lives.
Fucked up.
And it sucks. Yeah, it fucking sucks. So I hate that he's joined the club. My heart does break for him.
But think about, I just want to say, for him to actually have someone to relate like that, I feel like it's unfortunate, but it's fortunate that somebody is there like, hey, bro, I've been through this shit.
Yeah.
If not worse, it wasn't your private collection, it was the business. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but my biggest thing is, it's not going to be the only time someone's shit burns down. Like it's
going to happen again.
It's going to happen again and again.
Most of the time, it's electrical. That's what ours was.
Right.
Now I do own a heat tape company, and I do know that it was not heat tape.
It was not heat tape.
It was not my heat tape.
Be clear about that, okay?
I think it was heat wire. It's a different product. Back in the days, there was another heating cord. It's like a heat cord.
Right.
That you would snake under the levels of each, rack.
Oh, you mean
And
the
I think-
actual wire? Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a brown cord.
Yeah,
Yeah, the heat cord. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
And
Old school.
I think that, yes, it was old school, and I think that ended up to be the source of it, because that was the heating element where the fire started. And you could see like where the fire, literally in the middle of this gigantic warehouse, there's a little pyramid of melted stuff
Where that's the
where you
where
could
it
see,
started.
oh, there's the start. And then as you move
Everything
out
else
from that, everything
had the after
points to
effect.
that spot.
So you had the initial
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah, so
Right.
even the fire inspector and everything were like, this is the rack where it started. There was no heat tape there.
Right.
But there was, like everybody else in the time, we had fucking hundreds of thermostats running. We had hundreds of power strips running. Power strips can be dangerous. I don't
Right.
think it was power strips. I think it probably was the heat cord.
Was it during a hot time of the year?
No, fall. It was fall, September.
But where was this at? This is
August.
back east, right?
No, Denver, Colorado.
Oh shit. Okay.
fall.
So
fall in
definitely,
Denver
it's definitely calming
nice
down
and
then.
mild. Yeah, it's not super hot. It was real fucking weird. I got a call at 3 a.m. from the alarm company. They're like, there's a fire alarm going off at your business, and we're dispatching fire trucks. And so, you jump out of bed, you throw a t-shirt on, you run down. And I drove, the 17, 18 minutes to get to the warehouse. And you pull up, and there's fire trucks there, and you see smoke pouring out of the warehouse.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was the only one there outside of the fire truck. I was the first one on the scene. And so, yeah, you're just standing there, and again, it's like surreal. Because you're like, I don't really understand what's happening. And then you get fantasies, right? Like, oh, it's not gonna be that bad. Just
You're
hit it
hoping.
with some water,
Right.
and everything will be cool. But we had a giant overhead garage door, a metal one. So the fire guys get up on their ladder, and they use the big giant circular saw to cut through the metal garage door.
Fuck, it was
And
so
then
hot probably.
They peel it back, and then it was like the Backdraft movie. They peel it back, all the air goes rushing in, and then it
Fire.
boom,
God.
like giant fucking flames come storming out. And I
And
was
by
like,
that time you witnessed it, right?
yeah, I saw that. It was before you had camera
And
phones
you
and
knew it
stuff.
was fucked.
Once I saw that huge ball of fucking flame come out the garage door, I was like,
It's over.
oh,
This is real.
this is it.
Yeah.
We're done. This is it.
Oh
So,
my
yeah,
god, what
it
a
was-
fucking nightmare, bro.
Yeah, I can really relate to Ari and Ryu on this. Like I said, it's a shit ass club to be a part of, but
It all leads to the
You
next
know?
step. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like everything. Like here's the thing. Like as much as
Phoenix, right?
I mean, yeah, but here's Ari's fire happened right before he got married.
Yeah,
Which is-
even
But
worse.
but like one thing I
Yeah.
can tell Ari, I was like, bro, your wife's not dead. Your daughter's not dead because that house that
Your
they're
house-
living in could
your
have
house-
easily got caught on fire. You're still about to get married, so this is a whole new as much as it sucks because man, Ari loves his animals, man. There's people who love their animals. But then you have people who fly to different countries to find out about these animals. Like Ari is really about this shit. Like it gets me emotional because as much as I want to be for reals, I'm not sacrificing my health and going to the fucking Himalayas or not Himalayas, but Papua and trying to figure this shit out. And
You feel for his passion, right?
because it's like why Ari? Like why Ari? But at the end of the day, why you? Why pro exotics? So, but
I was glad I didn't lose my home. I lost a business, right?
Yeah.
But,
Think about losing a
but
home
like-
or in a family.
like JT,
Yeah.
lost his home.
Yeah.
Like you lose your home and all your personal shit.
Yeah, your life.
That's way different.
It's a whole nother
And I
change.
can't counsel anybody on that. Like I can't comprehend
It's tough.
losing my history of all my belongings or all my treasured possessions or whatever. Like that would be a whole different level of loss. But yeah, I don't know. It's just this. Yeah, now it's this weird thing I have in common with Ari. Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, MJ. I appreciate it.
Listen,
Um,
everything leads to the next step.
So that's how we got out of animals in 2011.
Okay.
That was it.
It led to what?
And it was funny because like a dum-dum, 2 days later, I bought my first ball python. I was like, here we go. We're going to start. I ordered it from,
Shall we start again?
yeah, I ordered it from Amir.
Oh, wow.
And it was
OG.
pinstripe, a simple pinstripe. And I thought, this is going to be the first animal of our new collection. And then he shipped it to me. And I was like, oh shit, we don't have any cages. Like we had nowhere to put it. Because literally, we didn't have any. I wasn't thinking. I was just like, God, that's a great looking animal. That'd be a great first step. So yeah, like an idiot, I ordered it. I got it. I was like, oh shit, we don't have a cage. I gave it to the Sloan brothers locally in Denver that were breeding animals. I was like, can you hold this for me? He's like, I got it, but I forgot I don't have any cages. And I hope they still have it today because I never.
Oh wow.
I never revisited to get it back from them. But within a week, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Right.
Livestock, breeding animals. So that was it. I still get the bug now.
Right. Well, because it's always in you.
For like keeping time.
Right.
I have zero interest in breeding.
Right.
Reproducing and making, especially like ball pythons, chasing combos. We talked to Brian Bodie yesterday.
Right.
He was showing us stuff and he's like naming off like 10 different genes that are in this one animal. I was like, that's madness.
Yeah.
Number one,
How do you
I
keep
only
up?
know 20% of the words you just said. I'm not even current on what genes and mutations there are.
Right.
But if I could just keep some stuff for fun, mandarin rat snakes, cockeye rat snakes, some Gilas.
Right.
I could get blessed and have some bolins again. That's my number one overall species.
How do you, what's
Reptile.
your, I have to ask you because you've been around
Yeah.
probably when Bolins was like $1,500 at one point. Now they're, if you're lucky, 8 to 9 G's.
No, we paid $10,000 for babies in the 90s.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. So when were Bolins $1,500? Never.
Wild caught ones. Wild caught were $1,500.
So you're saying
$2,500
so you're saying there was captive breds back in your time?
No, they're captive hatch. It's different.
So they're getting them pregnant,
You're gravid females.
and they lay, and then
They
that's it.
collect them in Indo. They lay.
Right.
They hatch them out. They were fucking smoking hot little red babies. Come in. Cameron the Bushmaster would bring them in. Not all the time, but maybe once a year he'd get some. We would scoop them up. I worked with Bolins for 15 years, I think.
Right.
And I think we had 4 big adults in our fire. We lost, which was one of the toughest species that I lost because they're my number one overall favorite reptile. But I'd love to keep them again. That's a whole different conversation about why the fuck can't anybody breed Bolins still.
Yeah.
It's one of the most mysterious species ever. But as far as a captive animal, unbeatable.
Right.
Things are amazing. They're visually amazing, stunningly beautiful. Not hard
If
to
we
keep.
were to put it all in a nutshell,
Mhm.
what would you say? Why haven't we been able to breed Bolins yet?
If I knew that, I'd be breeding Bolins.
What's your idea? If you could just fuck around, obviously we really don't know, but
I do not know.
you have no idea.
We tried everything.
A lot of things are led to them being overheated, like a lot,
Yeah.
right?
We
Which
did
I
the
think is
temperature
true.
thing. So they come from really high elevations,
Right.
where it's
Super
going to be
high.
really chill, really chilly at night,
Right.
right? But they're jet black, so that means they bask a lot to soak up the sunshine. And so during the day, they'd come out on these rock outcroppings that Ari's seen and experienced to soak up the basking sunshine, right? So that's what we did. We did giant cages. We put 7 vision cages tied together with portals in between each one. At the top, we put basking spots that were up to 120. And on the bottom, we kept them in our colubrid room. So in the wintertime, they could access 55 degrees. And you would see them use that entire temperature range.
Right. Which
throughout the week.
which they do in the wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought, we're so fucking smart. We're going to breed Bolins. We're going to have Bolins come out of our ears because this is the key, the super wide temperature range. And then some of the cages were blocked off for sun, no light in them, so super dark. Some of the cages had sphagnum moss. Some cages had cypress, so they had different levels of humidity. Some were just newspaper, so it was dry. It was the most brilliant shit ever. And of course, we're going to be fucking successful. And not a goddamn thing. Still nothing. So we did that. We tried the temperature thing. We tried the various cages. We tried giant cages. We tried varying up the diet. But yeah, nothing ever worked. We got, like many folks with Bolins, we got really good breeding. Like they pop like crazy.
They locked like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and we used ultrasounds and we'd watch the females develop crazy follicles. They get to 4 centimeters big. Like these big giant marshmallows running down the female. And you're like, 100%.
We're good. Yeah, we're locked in.
At least get slugs this year.
Right. She resorbs.
Never got a single thing. Just reabsorb back down to, 4 or 5 millimeters. The next year, say repeat, rinse and repeat. It's I don't know. I don't understand what the mystery can be.
You want to talk about mystery? Is like you won't hear of anyone really doing shit, and all of a sudden you'll see a bullet clutch, and you're like, wow, good for you. And then you'll literally see to the point where they fucking are full term, but they're dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? So Josh Hansen, I believe his name is, and he was somebody who, like, started letting people know the progress of his eggs, and literally it came down to just one egg, and he fully developed, perfect looking fucking hatchling, dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think the snake gods want us to have this shit, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
it's one of the great
something.
reptile mysteries. It's
Yeah, right.
100%.
Right.
And the people that are into it are fucking obsessed.
Sure, yeah. Well, Ari.
Yeah. Like he's making a career.
Right.
On
Literally,
roll.
he's writing a book over it, and he did twice.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious because trying to lead to what made you have the balls to start any kind of reptile company, right? So, Poe Exotics was the foundation.
That was where it started. Yeah.
And then what was the next chapter after that?
Ship Your Reptiles, 2009.
Ship Your Reptiles, 2009. Now, before we get into Ship Your Reptiles, what was it like shipping animals, period? Like, I mean, was there something that triggered in your mind, like, yo, hold on, we need to fucking figure out this shipping thing? Or is that what it was? Was it just, yeah?
So, in the 90s, we shipped mostly Delta Dash, air freight.
Right.
You literally have to drive to the airport.
Right, drop it off.
And drop off the package. And I swear to God, even if you ship a Delta 100 times, every time you go to the counter at Delta, they act like this is the first time they've ever seen.
So they're like,
ship.
huh?
It would take an hour at the counter to fill out multiple sheets of paperwork. You got to fill out air bills. Like, it was an effort. And then, of course, it was an hour away from our facility. So 2-hour round trip drive. You're going to be there 45 minutes or an hour and convince them they can ship reptiles. And then your customer has to go pick it up at the airport too. So it was super clunky and just it wasn't conducive to doing good business. So then we started shipping UPS, and that went really well. We actually started shipping reptiles with UPS because that was our shipper at the time.
So was it FedEx?
No, it was UPS. Most everybody's using, in the 2000s, most everybody's using UPS.
And wait, is UPS no longer shipping animals, or you still can use UPS?
You can ship animals with UPS. You can't ship snakes.
Wow.
Sort of. So in the UPS terms of service, this is going to really nerd shit, and everybody go to sleep. In the UPS terms of service, it says no snakes. Period.
Right.
In FedEx terms of service, it doesn't exclude snakes. They're cool with reptiles. Of course, both are non-venomous. But in UPS, it says no snakes. Now, if you were a business, even today, if you're a business with UPS, and by business, I mean you're not shipping 3 times a month. You're shipping 10, 12 times a week or more. Right. UPS will give you an exception. They won't sweat you on the snake thing. It's cool. They'll let you do it. They would let us, as Exotics, they would let us do snakes. But it was against their terms of service. Now, when we pitched the idea of this, third-party shipping company, the whole goal originally was to help everybody else in the industry get a cheaper rate. Was the original idea. Right? We're all going to combine our volume and we'll get a better discount. Because at the time, my discount with UPS, I was spending $35,000, $40,000 a year with them, and we would get a 20% discount. Which, if I gave REDLINE shipping customers 20% discount, they'd laugh me out of the fucking building. Because that's just, at this point, it's unacceptable in the industry, right? We get much deeper discounts these days. But back then, that was the norm. But we started with them for about a year. And then it turned out you can't do third-party shipping with UPS. Like, we had been okey-doked by the regional UPS reps. They were just like, yeah, fuck, set it up. Let's do it. And then once we started doing some real volume, UPS Legal got a whiff of it. And they were like, whoa, you can't do this. They sent us a cease and desist.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard Sean Bradley did a show the other day, and he speculated. He was like, oh, yeah, I remember UPS and Ship Your Reptiles had a snake get out, and that's why they got shut down. We've never had a snake get out of our packages on our account, ever. The reason it got shut down was because UPS Legal got a sniff of what we were doing, and they were like, whoa, I don't know who approved this or what you guys think you're doing, but it's not going to be this. It's not cease and desist as of today. So then we had to regroup. It took about a year to pitch to FedEx and say, hey, are you guys interested in doing this model?
Right.
And it took some good, strong convincing, but we were able to sell them on the idea of what we bring to the table being able to provide special packaging, being able to provide the knowledge base on how to do this safely, how to transport the animals safely, do the customer service side. And FedEx has a live animal desk. They have a whole division for live animals.
Wow.
And that's not just reptiles, but like gorillas and giraffes and orcas and dolphins and the rest of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like for zoo horses, they do a lot. And so they already had some infrastructure on live animal shipping. So it wasn't easy. It took us a year to get approved, but we were able to do that. So we've been, the industry has moved to FedEx kind of ever since. You still see some UPS shippers out there.
Right.
It's more difficult with UPS because they don't embrace the reptile industry as much as FedEx does.
Curious on how big things picked up, and what I mean by that, as soon as you came up with a game plan for ship your reptiles, how much did it gain traction? Like, was it like fucking out the floodgates? Like, as soon as people knew about ship your reptiles,
No.
was it just, or was it like,
No,
did it
no,
work up to that?
Yeah, it took a few years to get really good momentum.
Like, to the point where you guys weren't making shit? Like, were you guys taking a hit each year?
No.
or-
You can, because the overhead is pretty low.
Right.
You're
It's
not-
shipping. Right.
Yeah, there's nothing coming in my door, nothing going out my
Right,
door.
right.
And then we have packaging that's fulfilled by outside vendors. So I don't even have cardboard boxes.
Right.
Even today for
They're
Redline.
coming in ready to go.
Yeah. So the model was not easy, but it was executable, and the overhead was low. So, and it doesn't take a ton of staffers to do it. So yeah, it was not. Okay, well, we might have spent $300,000 on building a website for UPS,
Damn.
and we lost that. But then we were smarter, so we didn't spend that the second time around. No, but I remember hitting 50 shipments in a week. Woohoo! Then I hit 100 shipments in a week. I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then it was maybe 100 shipments in a day. I was like, oh my God, what's possible? This is cool.
This is cool.
Yeah. My FedEx bill would be $10,000 in a week. I was like, holy shit. Look at me, picture me rolling, dog. And then, but today, if you have a great fucking week today in shipping, you can hit 2,000 packages.
God damn.
So with Redline shipping, I mean, we're barely 2 weeks old now, almost.
Right.
I mean, just launched it. And, I've already hit 100 in a week. That was no problem. Within a couple of days, I did that. And so, I'm still looking for the achievement. So when I hit 500 in a week, I'll be stoked. When I hit 1,000 in a week, I'll be stoked. But it started a lot quicker because people are familiar with the model and what it does.
Right.
So yeah, the start, I thought Redline would go well.
Right.
Right off the bat. I had no idea it was going to go freaking bonkers. Like just flooding of accounts, the positive support, just people reaching out to me. I'm reaching out to people too, but everybody's just coming to the door and be like, hey, help us out, look us up. We want to ship with you guys. Robyn, I'm so glad you're back in it.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's been super exciting. Also very humbling.
Right.
Like, you're like, oh, shit.
You feel like it's
people
almost too
believe
good to
in
be
me.
true?
Yeah.
Because if it's one thing,
You'd be a little cynical, right? You're thinking there's got to be a shoe that drops and some shit's going to go wrong, but no.
I think anyone out there who's thinking like, well, what happened with Ship Your Reptiles? Like, what, like, for somebody like yourself who created such a goddamn legacy, like, why did you even have to create Redline Shipping? Like, what happened?
Things change. People change. Relationships change.
Life change.
Yeah, life change. I had a partnership for 25 years, and so that's changed. So I walked away with Reptile Report, which I'm still doing. I have a
With
small
respect,
staff.
by the way, it's
It
still
really does.
real respect, and that has a lot of pull.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's a little different than my original vision, but it still helps shine a light on folks that don't get as much recognition as they should, right? We have a really big audience, so it's easy to shine a light on smaller breeders, smaller producers that get to be exposed to a bigger audience. But I walked away with the Reptile Report. My partner Chad, has Ship Your Reptiles, and he's got a couple kick-ass employees. I'm a big fan of AJ. I think she's awesome. She was my favorite all-time staffer. I still, wish her the best. I wish I could work with her.
I'm sure you worked close with her, right? I mean, there was probably a time and point where that was
Our
probably your
offices were
right hand.
next, yeah, she was number one.
Right.
Our offices were right next to each other. I mean, I was the day-to-day guy, so interacted with that staff constantly.
Right.
And AJ she turned out to be a superstar. She still is. I have new staff now for Redline, and I think they're fantastic. I hired on my niece Mary.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's completely different from anything she's done in the past. But I recognized what we could do, and I recognized the opportunity.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to offer this opportunity to Mary. And I think it could be a really big deal for her.
Right.
Because
what does she do?
She's had various jobs. Well, for me, she's customer service.
Okay.
Chasing
huge part.
packages, finding out about late packages or correcting addresses or helping people purchase labels, purchase packaging, whatever. But it was different than anything she'd ever done. And I thought, boy, this could be a really good career opportunity for her, right? Like, if she's still doing this with me in Redline 3 years from now, it's going to be super powerful for her.
It's huge.
Yeah. I don't have any kids or anything. Who knows? Maybe Mary's going to run the shit someday. That'd be fucking rad.
I mean, never say never, man. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. So she's settled in. I mean, it's hard to explain. The shipping's not that exciting for most folks, but I have for whatever reason, I have a real passion for shipping. I fucking love it. I'm so excited to be back in it. I was having withdrawals for 3 years, but if she finds that same kind of passion, she'll be superstar. It's a really cool opportunity, and I think she can really do some cool stuff with it. So yeah, maybe she'll be the next AJ. That'd be awesome.
With that being said, I mean, what was it when you and Ship Your Reptiles parted? What year was that?
2019.
It's 2019. Okay.
4 years.
How much time did you take to kind of soak things in before you're like, you know what, I should start Redline? Or was that already a thought in your head?
No, it took a while.
Was it almost like the fire? It was like surreal. You're like,
yeah.
is this gonna not be real? And then go back to normal, or
yeah.
It was something where you had to let it sink in for a few weeks, and you're like, holy shit,
a few months.
Yeah,
it took me months and months and months to understand what had happened and come to terms. I still had ties. Chad and I had multiple companies together,
right?
So we had to split all that shit up, and that's not easy.
Not easy, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it took months to you're just, again, kind of a surreal moment. You're not sure what you're going to do. Like a fucking dummy. One of my big regrets, like we were talking earlier before the show about bikes and stuff.
Right.
And one of my big regrets is I freaked out some. So this is my career. What am I going to do?
Yeah, it's my life.
Yeah. And so I started freaking out because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I sold off a bunch of my vintage MX bikes and my collector bikes. Because you panic a little bit.
Yeah, you want to be safe.
Right, yeah. And I was like, I need to put some cash together just to make sure I'm okay. And so I sold off some of my most valuable stuff that I really thought I'd never part with. And it turned out I didn't need to. So that fucking sucked. Because I can't get those things back. And a couple, so happens, were a couple of really nice collectible Redline BMX frame sets and Redline Pro Line bikes.
Right.
Like just stunning things, but whatever, man. Life fucking happens, right? You got to read and react. If you get knocked down, you got to, you get back up, dust yourself off, and move forward.
I mean, because if not, you're just gonna be on the floor dirty. What are you gonna do? Just
fucking sit in the corner and cry?
People do. That's the thing. People will literally sit in their own fucking dwelling, and they won't do shit about it.
Miserable.
But what's that, dude? Life's not about being miserable. It's about doing something about it. You know what I'm saying? And to hear your story,
that's my personality.
Like Robyn, at the
you
end,
didn't have a choice. You got to move forward. Yeah.
To hear this happening for you, and not to get into details, but fuck, not everyone gets it. Like I always feel like luck is such a huge part in almost anything you do in this world. But some people just get the shit end of the stick. Yeah. And it's sometimes the fucking people who why them? They did so much. But I also believe in I believe in good karma. And I feel like the reason why you're so passionate about shipping is because you see how happy it makes us people who are having to ship animals and not have to deal with fucking what happens? What's the next step? I mean, because at the end of the day, Robyn, people rely on that shit. People rely on their animals being shipped by a company who are saying, yeah, go through us. But what my question to you is like, why should somebody go through why should somebody go through Redline shipping versus Reptiles Express or Reptiles to you or ship your reptiles? Like,
So you just have to name drop all the competition.
is there more? Sorry.
No, you hit them. It's just like, you can just mention Redline, but you got to mention everybody else as well. Shout out to Debbie, Reptiles to you. Another favorite person of mine.
Heard a lot of good things about you, Debbie.
I think Debbie's awesome. And it's funny because I told Debbie this after we launched, once we were live, because before we launched, it was secret. It was like super top, super secret.
Right.
Nobody knew. And then once we launched, again, the response immediately was tremendous. But I reached out to Debbie because I've always been friends with Debbie.
Right.
She's a fucking sweetheart. She sees me at shows, she gives me a hug, and she's super supportive. And so I reached out and I was like, hey, so we're clear, I'm doing this because I have a passion for it and I know I can do it well. But I said, Debbie, I think you're awesome. And I told my staff and I told my partners, like, I'm not going to go headhunting Debbie's customers. It's a fucking waste of time. Debbie's people love Debbie.
Yeah, they really do.
Like the experience that she gives, which nobody else in the industry matches. She has a very unique interaction, very unique customer service.
Yep.
I don't offer that Debbie experience. Nobody does. And so I told my guys, I was like, yeah, don't chase after Debbie's customers. It's a waste of time. Debbie's customers are fucking Debbie's customers.
They're diehard.
Yeah. So there's plenty of business out there for everybody. Number one. But yeah, I told Debbie, I was like, I still think you're awesome. I still want to see you at shows and interact at a very positive level. And you know what she said? The exact same thing. Of course.
Right.
She's super nice.
Right.
She's like, oh, love to see you at the show. Wish you the best of luck. Of course, like the rest of the people in my fucking world, she was like, I love your wife even more than you, and I want to see your wife.
Oh,
when
you
can
too?
I see your wife?
God damn.
When I go to shows, everybody's like, oh, hey, Robyn, good to see you. Where's your wife?
My wife always says
Where's
the show.
Nikki?
Yeah.
Where's Nikki? How come I don't see Nikki? And I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm just Nikki's husband.
But okay, you know what? I'm happy that my wife's the more sought after one. Because if it
me
was
too.
me, I'd be like, fuck. Damn, what's wrong with my wife? You know what I mean?
I have recognition and appreciation for how rad my wife is. Yeah. It's just funny how everybody seems to love her. But Debbie as well.
Right.
As a part of that conversation, Debbie was like, say hi to Nikki. Hope you can see her in the show.
Right.
Yeah. So, as far as your question, why would you use us? I think all of the companies you so generously name drop all have something to offer, right? It's kind of as far as how the experience might appeal to you. I just have as much experience as anybody in the industry from the history of starting SYR. I know how to execute it really, really well. Sometimes my staff in the past has been super annoyed at the level of customer service that I expect and insist upon. Like, I want it to be a very, very pro level experience.
JD Power
and associates.
Yeah.
I want to blow people away with the customer service of that. So can I get better customer service than AJ at SYR? No. Can I try and match that? Yes. I can give a really great customer service. And then, not insignificantly, it was part of the team I put together. We have a very solid staff. I hired Elliot, who's worked with Triple L for years and years, and on a very high level. He's a customer service expert, he's a retail expert. So I have him on staff, and of course, we've talked about Superstar Mary as well. But the team of partners that I have that have believed in me and believed in the company. So Brian Potter, Bob Ashley from NARBC, investors in the company.
Respect.
John Lehman from Morph Market, investor in the company.
Respect.
Yeah. BHB, Triple L. I had the opportunity. So when I split, once I kind of cleared the cobwebs and the gray fuzziness, I said, oh shit, this is an opportunity. I could work with some of my peers that I've known for decades that I'd always wanted to work with. And so, fuck yeah, I jumped at that. But Brian Potter's fucking nuts. But he's a great dude. He's a smart ass businessman.
Right.
He's put together a tremendous, show as a promoter. I mean, he's successful in other businesses as well, but I get the opportunity to work with Brian. Fuck yeah.
And if you want to talk about the dynamic between Brian and Bob Ashley, it's like holy shit. It's like two opposite ends. You know what I mean? You have the bull, which
not
is
even
Potter.
the opposite ends of the coin.
No, just opposite ends of the world.
Yes. Yes.
You have Potter, who's the bull and just runs right through things.
Yep.
Then you have Bob Ashley, who's more of the fucking like, more
Cerebral.
logical,
Yes.
fucking like, okay, let's kind of put these things together.
Mhm.
But they need each other. Like that's the perfect
It's
dynamic.
a really nice dynamic.
It's perfect because they're the
And I
leaders.
love
They're
that
the leaders
about-
of the industry, bro.
That's what I love about partnerships.
Right.
You can create this balance. I have a lot of strengths. I'm
Right.
really good at a lot of different things, but I have weaknesses too.
As we all do.
Yeah. So if I can bring in partners that have expertise in their particular field, Lauren at Triple L is a fucking expert on the retail side of things. BHB, he's an expert on the social media side of things and how to build them, how to reach people. Potter's an expert on business issues as well, but he's an expert on executing that trade show aspect.
Right.
There's value I can take from that. And of course, Morph Market. I mean, John started Morph Market from nothing, and now he's absolutely the gorilla in the marketplace reptile world, right? And believe me, I mean, we did a marketplace with the Reptile Report back in 2013 or 2014. It was okay.
I'm
But it
sure
was
there's a lot to
mediocre.
keep up with. Like
Oh,
it's
it's
fucking
fucking
probably
difficult.
insane. I mean,
It's-
think about how many
it's really
websites
hard.
how many websites crash because how many people are using it. Like that's happened at Morph Market where like it became non-functional because how many people are using it. It's
Yeah, but-
fine now.
But in that model, the problem is the opposite. That nobody uses it.
Wow.
Like we tried to do it, and it was fine. It was good, but I can't accept that.
Right.
I don't want some shit that's fine. My shit has to be outstanding.
Right.
I want exceptional. And so for the marketplace, for Reptile Report marketplace, to be okay, it was unacceptable.
Yeah.
I shut it off. I turned it off because I'm not going to exist at that mediocre fucking level. I got better shit to do. I want to. If I can't execute at a very high level, then I'm not doing it. So yeah, it was okay. It was selling animals, selling product, but I shut it down. And there's been dozens of efforts at marketplaces. I mean, back in the 2000s, 2010s, there's probably 10 efforts a year people would launch and be like, this is the new greatest fucking marketplace. And they would fall flat on their face every single time. John at Morph Market was the one guy that figured it out. And more importantly, he stuck with it. He stayed focused. He's super talented. It was a slow go at first. You got to get the momentum. You got to get the critical mass. But I mean, if somebody looks at Morph Market now, they're like, "Oh shit, it must be easy to run this massive marketplace." It's like, no, that's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in there. But he had the right vision. He had the right plan to execute it, and he was the right guy to execute it. That's important. And so, I have an opportunity to get that guy on my team. Fuck yeah. 100%.
Right.
Yeah, I'm totally open to that. I don't have this narcissistic megalomania thing that like I'm going to do everything. No way, man. I can find expertise and value in other folks. I'm going to let them pitch in and do their part and let them execute their expertise. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what the relationships are all about.
I think one of the, I don't want to sound corny or popcorny, but I heard a quote the other day that really stuck out to me. I feel like you fit this quote really good. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Hey.
And
Yeah,
what I'm
sure.
saying by that is everything you're telling me right now, I mean, just by me representing or me saying the other companies, you had nothing but good things to say about each and every one of those companies who's working for it. You're not here bashing anybody, even though you're an underdog right now, in a sense, because you're starting something where other people are established.
Yeah.
But it's a different ballgame right now because, man, you fucking started something that's blowing up right now, but now it's
exploded.
It's
the first
exploded.
couple Weeks, yeah.
But what does that mean as far as like what you have to bring to this table as far as shipping for what I'm trying to get at, man? At the end of the day, there's so many different options. No matter what you do in life, there's going to be different options on what you should choose.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with the company that's had the experience? You know what I mean? And we're in an industry that's continuously evolved. Like things are happening where we need to be on top of shit.
Yeah. And who do you want to be in a relationship with? Who do you want to partner with? I want to offer that appeal so that you as a shipper, you as a small business person breeding your bearded dragons or your crested geckos or your the loopers or whatever, you say, okay, Redline, that's who I want to be part of. That's the team I want to be on. That's what I'm at. Because we can all give a great price. I know there's various levels of customer service. Like AJ is fantastic, Devin's fantastic. I know we can be fantastic. So some of those playing fields are a little more level, but still, what circle are you joining? What team you want to join? What team you want to be on? I want to offer that appeal as well. Like I can give great experience, we can give great discount, all that stuff. But I also want to be able to say this is a great relationship that can help you as a small business person grow your business. And I mean, that's the business side of it. If I can tangent just for a second, the most gratifying experience for shipping reptiles, whether it's at my decade of shipping reptiles or whether Redline shipping, which we already did this past week, you help the first time shipper who's scared to death accomplish a safe, responsible shipment and have confidence that it's going to be okay. Like the mom or the kids maybe going to college or whatever it is, she calls, you can hear the fear in her fucking voice. I got this bearded dragon. I don't know what to do. I have to ship it. Can you help me? And nothing gets me more excited than that.
Yeah, I mean, I have somebody who's been in this game since he was 16 years old. He's now 18, going on 19. Shout out to Calvin Garcia. I wasn't going to say your name, but fuck it.
You say everybody else's
he's
name,
so but
shout out Calvin. Does Calvin have any competitors you want to mention?
I mean, right now he will. But what I'm saying is, like, Calvin was like, we have a deal, and he wants a snake that I have, and I want a snake that he has. I'm like, cool. Can I ship it next Tuesday? He's like, yeah. Can I drive down your snake next Tuesday? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, bro, I'm not ready to ship. What do you mean you're not ready to ship? I've never done it before.
It's daunting.
It is daunting.
If you haven't done it, it's scary.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it's easy. But without knowledge and the support, it seems scary.
So with that being said, Robyn, is there anything in play for new shippers to, like, I don't know if there's maybe a YouTube tutorial that you guys do, but is there anything in play for somebody to see how it's done or how you guys recommend how shipping should be done so people don't go in so dark?
Yeah, I mean, there's a million shipping videos. Some are terrible.
Right. Is there one maybe that could come from Redline?
Yeah, it's coming.
Right.
I gotta nail down Barchek from squirting all around the world. And, he's really hard to get in one place for 13 seconds. But we're gonna shoot a new video. Yes.
Awesome.
And I know, today in 2022, especially younger generation, they consume video content. So maybe that will help them better understand it. But from my experience, that first shipment, it's a hand-holding experience.
Well, because it's like ripping the Band-Aid off. It's like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of
because I want to talk to you about it.
Right.
My vision of how to do it, or if I'm going to teach you how to do it, I think the best way for me to do that is to talk to you about it.
Right.
I'm going to walk you through the steps.
Right.
And I'm going to take the scariness away from it.
Right.
I'm going to take the uncertainty away.
Right.
I'm going to give you confidence that you can execute it. You don't have to have me there to do it. I'm going to give you the support and knowledge that you can execute. And there's really just four steps.
Right.
Get your packaging, book a label, pack the animal, and put the animal in the system. That's it. Now, each one of those has, a million small, subtle details, each one of those steps, and that's what we can provide to the customer, the very brand new person. But, to have somebody come and be very intimidated by the idea, like our boy Calvin, that's scared to ship the animal, once you walk them through the step and they get the shipment, they do it, and complete, and they call you back and they're like, I just want to say thanks. You really made that process a lot simpler, and you made me feel okay about it. I felt safe about it. The animal arrived great, and it's doing fantastic, blah, 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 blah. There's not really, for me, as somebody who's passionate about shipping, there's not many better responses and experiences than that. I fucking love that experience. To be able to give that experience to the person that was really afraid of it. To me, that's what it's all about.
Can you admit, though, as easy as it could be for someone to figure out how to ship an animal, it's just as easy as for you to fuck it up, too? Like, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
And I'm curious, what are some...
just wing it.
What are some of the most crucial fuck ups you see from somebody's first time shipping? Like,
Oh, there's one simple answer: misuse of heat packs.
oh god, elaborate a little bit. Like
It's the
over,
bugaboo.
like
It's the
using
bugaboo of
when
life.
you don't need to type shit,
Yeah.
or even just throwing it in the box and not taping it or some shit.
No, just overuse.
Right.
So we have very specific shipping guidelines,
Right.
temperature guidelines,
Right.
that say when to use a heat pack and when not to use a heat pack. So it's developed from literally shipping hundreds of thousands of animals.
Right.
If you follow the REDLINE shipping standards on how to use a heat pack, you'll be fine. People get confused. It's a reptile, right? They like it hot, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna put in extra heat packs to make sure it stays nice and hot.
Nice and toasty for
Yes.
you.
Yeah, it'll be toasty, all right. It'll be dead. And I tried just hammer this. The heat pack is not meant to heat up the box. That's not what you want. It's to prevent the box from getting too cold. That's what you want. The reptiles, in particular, they can withstand cold temperatures much better than they can withstand hot temperatures.
Right.
I'd ship anytime in the middle of winter in Minnesota than in July or August in Phoenix. Like shipping in the cold is easy. Shipping in the heat is really fucking hard. You get an animal, you put bearded dragon at 98 degrees ambient temperature for a couple hours, you have a dead animal.
Yeah.
You take that same bearded dragon, you put them at 55 degrees for 4 days, and you still have a bearded dragon.
Right.
Like cool temperatures are easy to deal with. The heat is the danger. So people tend to overcompensate because they're like, oh, reptiles like it hot. I've shared a picture before. A guy shipped his bearded dragon adult bearded dragon pet he had for years and years and years, shipping a 16-8 box, like the standard fish box size, right? He booked the label with Shipping Reptiles. He didn't ask for any help or insight or anything. Animal arrived dead. He was heartbroken. It's his pet. And he called and he's like, what the hell happened? So we got pictures to see. We just have to evaluate what happened. And he sent me a picture of the underside of his lid. He put 10 heat packs.
Oh my god, 10?
The reptiles like it hot, MJ. Okay?
10 heat packs, bro.
10 heat packs. I told him, I was like, that animal's dead within 90 minutes. You realize? I'm really sorry. And it's hard because you can hear the heartbreak in his voice. Like,
Yeah.
It's not
my fault.
It's
Yeah.
not an animal I just sold for $300, right? I'm shipping it to another breeder. No, this is his pet.
Different.
He's had it for 10 years.
There's emotional attachment.
And in one overnight period, drops the animal off, and it arrives tomorrow, it's dead.
Right.
Now it's 100% user error. There's no way it could have survived. Even if it was 0 degrees outside, it still wouldn't have survived 10 heat packs. So heat packs are it's a tremendous tool. It allows us to ship during the winter. And if you use it correctly, no problem. Easy. But that's where people fail the most. The other thing with heat packs, since you allowed me to talk about fucking heat packs, you can use 40-hour heat packs or longer. 60-hour, 72s. I like 72s a lot. Temperature profile on those is really nice. But, you can't just go buy those. You can't go to Dick's Sporting Goods
Special order 'em.
or Target and get 40-hour heat packs. They don't sell it. Walmart doesn't sell 40-hour heat packs. You know what they sell? 12 hours. They sell 8-hour hand warmers.
Yeah. Which
So,
I
let
use on
me
my
see. So 8-hour hand warmers. So I want 40 hours. So I'll put 5 of those. That's what happened. These people are like, oh, I'm gonna ship tomorrow. Shit, I don't have a heat pack. Okay, I'm gonna go buy some. Oh yeah, you can't buy them. It's a specialty product. The big box stores don't have them. Target, Walmart, they don't have them. They got the hand warmers, so they're like, oh, I'll buy 5 of those.
Yeah.
And you know what happens? They kill the animal. I hate it. I fucking hate it. You get a DOA. Somebody reports DOA. I had an animal die, and so, all right, let's take a look, see what happens. You get that fucking picture, and there's fucking 4 hand warmers in the box. You're like, this is so avoidable. I mean, it shit's in bold writing in red on the website. It says, do not use hand warmers. Be very careful about using heat packs. I literally wrote like a 3,000-word FAQ on how to properly use heat packs. I would talk to you for an hour about how to use heat packs. All you have to do is ask. But, people try and wing it, and then they lose animals. It breaks my fucking heart. But So yeah, number one thing goes wrong is heat packs.
Right.
It's not an evil. It's not a necessary evil because again, it's a tremendous tool. Helps to ship all year round during the winter and stuff. But shit, I fucking hate it when people just use it. Breaks my heart because it's so easily avoidable.
We got a pretty juicy topic here. It's going to be the wrap-up question too, but
Okay.
I'm curious.
Oh, it's been 1 hour.
It's been 1 hour, yeah.
Could have been maybe 20 minutes.
I want to know straight from Robyn, marketing himself.
Ready. Is it about Calvin?
No. God bless
Is it
Calvin.
about all my competitors?
No, it's not about competitors. God bless Debbie.
God bless you, Debbie. I love Debbie.
Shipper insurance.
Yeah.
Is that legit or not? I mean, how?
It's 100% legit.
Because here's the thing: there's a lot of people who think, like, how many people have actually claimed their animal through shipper insurance? Because there's guidelines, right? If you send an animal that's quote unquote $5,000 and it dies, right?
Yeah.
What do you need to provide to show that that animal is worth $5,000 to get that insurance coverage?
That's your question?
Because
What
a
do
lot
you
of
need to
people
show-
think insurance is reptile insurance is bullshit. Like they
not.
okay, well that's why I want to clarify because a lot of people are like, dude, that's all bullshit.
So here's-
Who's actually claimed the money that was earned? That's what I'm trying to get at. I want to clarify that.
I paid out a $5,000 claim. Sure. But we pay out $200 and $300 claims all the time.
Right.
And multiple thousands of dollar claims is not unusual. What is unusual, just to be clear, what is unusual is DOAs. It's not 1% of packages are DOA.
Right.
It's much smaller than that. DOA is exceptionally unusual. So number one, when you're shipping the animal, if you do your job is to package it correctly,
Safely, right.
ship at the right temperatures. You don't ship to Phoenix when it's 114 degrees. You don't ship it to Minnesota when it's 20 below zero. If you follow the guidelines and package it correctly, there's no reason the animal is going to be DOA. When we deal with DOAs in the business, 98% of the DOAs, when you look at the photos of how the packaging was, it's instantly identifiable what's going on. And it's usually heat related, usually heat pack related. So if you do your job on packing the animal correctly and shipping it correctly, if FedEx delays that box and the animal arrives DOA, then you get paid. It's very simple. I mean,
But meaning, like what is needing to be like? What do you have to provide though? Like,
for
there has to-
$5,000,
yeah, like meaning,
you don't have to provide an invoice. So here's the deal.
because especially if it's a snake eye bred, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody bought
I
it.
don't
I
care.
made this snake.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Right.
You can insure for whatever you want. So if you bought a $20 leopard gecko and you want to pay insurance for $6,000, if you package it correctly, follow the guidelines, it's late, and it's DOA, I'll give you $6,000 for your $20 gecko. No problem. No questions
What if
asked
it's
on
just
that.
DOA?
If
Not late. It's
It's
DOA.
DOA?
Yeah.
If it's DOA before it's late, number one, it doesn't qualify for insurance. Number two, if it's DOA but it's on time, maybe in hundreds of thousands of shipments, I could tell you one or two instances where I thought FedEx fucked that up. But every other instance is user error. Heat pack related,
Right.
packaging related, temperature related,
right.
yes.
Okay.
So, and the reason it has to be late is because not everybody's super fucking cool like Calvin. There's scammers out there, right? And so, if you gave insurance for $5,000, you could ship an animal with insurance for $5,000. Didn't have to be late.
Right.
Not you, of course, and not Calvin, not Debbie.
Right.
Somebody's going to put a dead animal in the box, put it $5,000 insurance, ship it out, and tomorrow they're going to claim for $5,000. Scammers are going to kill it.
Yep.
Like you wouldn't be able to have a program.
Right.
So the nature of the program, which I wrote originally for SYR and transferred over to Redline, if you do your job, the insurance covers you if FedEx fucks up.
Right.
If they get it there on time and everything has been done according to the shipping standard, there's no reason for the animal to be DOA.
Right.
None. If FedEx delays it for any reason, even 1 minute or 1 day, if it arrives and it's DOA and you have insurance, then I will pay you what the insurance value is.
Right.
Now, just to be clear, reptiles, I decided not to tie it to market value because maybe it has pet value, or as a breeder, I appreciated that if I was shipping $1,000 female ball python this next season, maybe she just has 9 eggs.
Right.
For me, that's $9,000 value. So if I want to insure for $9,000, then yeah, insure for $9,000.
Right.
For aquatics, it's tied to market value. For inverts, it's tied to market value.
Okay.
But for reptiles, it's not. You can insure for whatever you want. I mentioned maybe a couple times, animal arrived on time and was DOA, and I couldn't figure out why.
Right.
And I did not think that the person shipping or receiving was scamming us, like they seemed 100% above board legit. I just went ahead and paid it anyway. I don't.
But you're saying this,
Please don't take advantage of that.
That's
folks.
what I'm saying. The chances of that are such a one-off situation.
It's so thin.
Yeah.
Yes. That,
Okay. I'm glad you clarified that.
because
Because
if you put a fucking frozen ass snake in a box, you ship it and you insure it for $3,000, and you're like, I heard on MJ's show I'm going to get away with this. No, you're not.
No.
I'm going to know the difference between that
don't even
situation.
try it, you scammer fucks.
Yeah, not you, Calvin.
Yeah. Calvin.
Calvin's
Fuck.
legit.
Calvin's drive 9 hours to drop that snake down, motherfucker. Don't package it. Don't ever ship.
Calvin, just use Robyn60 as a code, Redline shipping.
Yeah, hey, real
60%
shit.
off.
Hey, discount
I'll hook
code Robyn60,
Yeah, Robyn60.
please, right now for the first 2 shipments, right?
First 2 shipments. 60% off. Crazy. Crazy price.
So listen, Robyn, I'm
Yes.
very excited for the future. I already know
Me
that
too.
you and I will have many conversations for the future. At the end of the day, thank you so much for everything you've done for this industry, but continue to do. Because if it's one thing that inspires me, is somebody who chooses not to just lay over and fucking just say fuck it. You know, when it comes down to not only the fire happening with you, but life changes altogether. It's gonna happen to you no matter what. No matter who you are, you gotta be ready to get hit in the fucking face.
Life is hard.
Sucks.
Life is hard. Life does.
But it also sucks if you can't do nothing about it. And us humans aren't capable of moving forward.
It's very easy to be cynical.
Right.
Very easy to be negative.
Right.
But it doesn't do any good.
It doesn't do shit. It holds you back.
Focus on positive.
Right.
Keep your shit tight and roll fucking forward. Just do it. You know what I love? I love passion. I have passion for reptiles and reptile industry. I have passion for shipping. You know what I love about you? You have passion for what you're doing.
Right.
You have passion for this podcast. It shows.
Right.
And that's important. It's really important. And I appreciate that about you.
Right.
So anybody that has passion about what they're doing, I can get down. I support it. If I can support it through shipping, if I can support it through Reptile Report, if I can just support it through just being, friendly and offering advice, being, somebody to bounce ideas off of, if I can support Ari in his time of need, then that's what I want to do. I want to support people. I want to support great people doing great work, and passion is the key to it. So I'm always down for that.
Before we wrap this up, we had over 50 people tapping in for this episode. What do you have to say to everyone out there truly supporting Redline Shipping and Redline Science? People out there who want to watch you fucking win. What do you have to say to everyone out there?
It's been a crazy 2 weeks since we've launched, and it's been super humbling to see people coming out and wanting to support me.
Right.
Like I'm getting a ton of accounts because they believe in me and what I've done in the industry and what I've done with shipping. That's been super humbling. I'm just deeply, deeply appreciative.
Right.
I want to make sure that I meet those expectations and I exceed those expectations if I can. So just like I admire in other people when they execute at a very high level, I want to make sure I execute at a high level so I can meet people's expectations and show my appreciation for them having belief in me. It's super powerful. It's been an amazing couple of weeks to launch. I'm thrilled to be back in this part of the industry. I do have passion for it. But yeah, the support has been just overwhelming. I'm really happy about that.
Pretty sure you know, Robyn, I like to be high. I like to get high. But I like higher standards.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So, Robyn, I got to
Me
say
too.
thank you so much. Guys, if this was your first time tapping in, Robyn60 promo code, right?
Robyn,
Say that?
what's up?
Redlineshipping.com, Redline Science, which we didn't get to talk too much, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many freaking awesome things going on at Redline Science that will help implement you having things dialed in with your collection. I mean, I have 30 hemostats from you. I have the razor blade, which my wife
Scraper?
uses for her own stuff, which it's like a universal tool. It's
It is.
nuts. But listen, guys, please go check them out. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment. Let me know when you're going to do your first Redline shipping order package with my man Robyn. And again, thank you so much, Robyn.
Thanks, man.
I will see you at the next show, Arlington, right?
Arlington.
Arlington. Will you go to Arlington?
Texas.
Let me know. But guys, thank you so much. It's a wrap here from the Las Vegas Reptile Super Show. We will catch you next time. And that's that.
Good job.
That was awesome.
That was easy. I really thought it was 20.